YouTube. Today I'm going to be comparing and reviewing 3 gel eyeliners. Well, 3 of the ones I've tried at least. First one is by Wet n Wild. I don't know the name of it. I think they only have one gel eyeliner and it comes in black. The second one is Maybelline New York's Eyestudios gel liner in Blackest Black. And MAC's Fluidline in Blacktrack. Wet n Wild's liner, it's a bit stiff. It's a firm liner, but it's very, very opaque. It's very dark, and you don't need very much of it. That's Wet n Wild. You don't need very much of it to get a stark line. You don't have to go over the same area multiple times. It's very stiff. It puts the color exactly where you place it, and once you get it on, that's it. It takes me the least amount of time to put gel eyeliner on with Wet n Wild. That's the one that I have on my eyes today. Maybelline Eyestudios, it's also stiff. It's a little bit softer than Wet n Wild's. This bottom one is the Maybelline gel liner. If Wet n Wild and MAC Fluidline had a baby, it would be Maybelline Eyestudios, because it's still slightly stiff. It glides on a bit easier than Wet n Wild. Wet n Wild, you can't really glide across your eye so much. It's more small placements. Maybelline Eyestudios, it has the glide element that Blacktrack has, but it's still very opaque. The only problem I have with this one would be, this is very random, but it burns when I cry. I've cried in all 3 of these eyeliners, and for some reason this one makes my eyes burn. It's very random. And my least favorite, honestly, would be Blacktrack. People have given Blacktrack such a good name, and I'm not exactly sure why they've done that. It's very smooth. It's very, very creamy. It glides on your eyelid very easily. There's no tug and pull or anything like that. But the problem with that is it's not very opaque. If you can take the brush and glide it right across your eye, but it will be patchy, it will not be opaque, and it's a little bit shiny. It's a little bit greasy looking when you first apply it. It does mattify out a bit, but it's a greasy looking eyeliner. If you look into the package of this is Blacktrack Fluidline, and this is the Maybelline one, you can kind of see in the package that Blacktrack is definitely a little greasier, a little shinier, and that could be good if that's the look you're going for, but it's going to take you a while to build that color up. And it's way easier to make mistakes with Blacktrack. With the Wet n Wild eyeliner, I could literally just apply it right to where I want it, and that's the only place it goes. With Blacktrack Fluidline, since it is so creamy, your brush slips a little bit easier on your skin. Since it does glide, it glides easier, but it also slips easier, if that makes any sense. Wet n Wild, you could get that perfect line without, going over it 2 or 3 times. With Blacktrack, you have to take your time and be careful. Time-wise, it takes me the longest to put on Blacktrack, because I have to sit there, be very, very careful of where I place my brush, or unless my hand is going to slip and I'll make a mistake. And then I have to go over it multiple times and put on multiple layers to get the color that I want. The one that takes me the least amount, I would say Wet n Wild, but really the Wet n Wild and the Maybelline, they're very, very similar. Just the Maybelline glides a little bit more. If I were to suggest one of the eyeliners, I would say Maybelline Eyestudios. I know I said Wet n Wild was my favorite, but the main reason Wet n Wild is my favorite is because when I cry or when it rains, it doesn't burn my eyes. Maybe that's just me. I do have sensitive eyes, but if I had to suggest one, it would be the Maybelline Eyestudios, because A, it comes with this brush. It's dirty now since I just swatched all the colors on my hand, but it comes with this brush. This is a very good eyeliner brush, honestly. I use the Maybelline brush with the Wet n Wild and with the Blacktrack because I love the brush so much. So my suggestion would be to get the Maybelline Eyestudios. My suggestion would be to get the Maybelline Eyestudios because it's a very good mixture of stiff enough to be opaque, yet smooth enough to glide on fairly easily, but not too smooth like Fluidline, so it'll be easier to make mistakes